Lately, I've been following the channel Fantastic Daily, which has gone deeper into the black-eyed kid phenomenon than any other channel I'm familiar with. The owner is conducting a really interesting experiment in which he hopes to gather enough evidence to prove that these entities actually exist. In this video, we will take a look at the experiment itself, and we'll take a look at some of the evidence he's gathered so far. In order to explain his experiment, we first need to understand the premise behind it. It's claimed that a faint, staticky noise is sometimes heard during an encounter with a black-eyed kid. In addition to this, there are several audio recordings of alleged black-eyed kid encounters where one can hear this noise. The host of Fantastic Daily, who I will refer to as FD, claims to have found an unusual spectral pattern in the static. Furthermore, he hypothesizes that this pattern may represent a type of language used by the black-eyed kids to communicate with one another. His experiment involves setting up several cameras and playing a continuous audio loop of the static recorded from an alleged black-eyed kid encounter. The audio is intended to lure in the black-eyed kids in order to obtain video and photographic evidence to prove their existence. His results thus far have been shocking. The experiment seems to have worked. So far, he has captured what may be black-eyed kids on video as well as in still images. In addition to this, FD claims to have experienced other forms of paranormal activity since his experiment began. If you're skeptical of his experiment and the evidence he claims to have gathered, I don't blame you. I can't help but to be a bit skeptical of it myself. Though his results seem a little too good to be true, it's deserving of a much closer look before we brush it off as an elaborate, well-executed hoax. His experiment needs to be duplicated by other researchers. However, that is not possible at this time as FD has not released the audio signal due to safety concerns. FD has agreed to release the signal for other researchers to duplicate the experiment, but only when he feels it is safe to do so. Assuming his experiment is not a hoax, I wholeheartedly agree with his reasoning as to why he hasn't released the signal. Though the results of his experiment cannot yet be independently verified, it is possible to verify the authenticity of a few of his claims. This is what I'm trying to do. Here's an excerpt from an email I sent him on May 17th. As of today, June 15th, 2017, I haven't heard back from him, so if you're listening, FD, please get back with me as soon as you can. You can pause the video to read it if you like, otherwise, here's my reasoning in a nutshell. First, I want to verify the assertion that there is in fact a link between the static noise and the black-eyed kid phenomenon. I can't use the recording provided by his research partner Freya to verify this connection, as she is too closely connected to Fantastic Daily. However, it may be possible to partially verify the authenticity of the recording from the UK by contacting the individual who recorded it. If nothing more, I could verify that the incident occurred where it was said to have taken place. I would also need to get the recording straight from the original source. From there, it should be easy to verify the presence of the spectral pattern by using the same program and inputting the same parameters used by FD. Being able to verify these things would add a lot of weight to the validity of FD's investigation. Now, if FD is being honest about his findings, I have an interesting hypothesis pertaining to the spectral pattern and its meaning. I'll be talking about that in part 2. Also, assuming that his work is not a hoax, then his experiment inherently involves a high risk of danger for everyone involved. As such, I'd like to ask all viewers who pray to join me in praying for the safety of FD, his family, and his research partner Freya. There's a link to Fantastic Daily in the description. At best, his work represents one of the greatest breakthroughs in the history of paranormal research. At worst, his series is a brilliantly written, captivating work of fiction. Either way, I encourage everyone to check it out and come to your own conclusion. Right now, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt until I can personally verify the things I mentioned in the email. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, yet a definitive conclusion that something is a hoax cannot be made based on the lack of such evidence alone. I'm always striving to find the perfect balance between unbiased open-mindedness and healthy, rational skepticism. Perhaps nowhere is this more important than in the field of paranormal research. For a claim to be considered true within the scientific community, it must be both verifiable and duplicatable. I truly hope that I will be able to do this with his claims. But whatever the case, I will carry out my investigation objectively and be completely transparent with my findings. Hey everyone, Drew here from Mad Cat Mysteries, and I hope you enjoyed the video you just watched. If you did, you can click on the subscribe button below. I'd appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.